Okay, so with regards to the theme in ISOG today, right? We're talking about AI or OT. I'm going to touch a bit high level about how we're going to instill artificial intelligence into our zero trust architecture to, of course, secure against AI. If you have seen my presentation from last year, okay, it actually revolved around zero trust architecture also, but it's about digital transformation. So now, we're talking about how can we instill this artificial intelligence, right, into the zero trust architecture to digitally transform your organization. So I'm Rahim, I'm the sales engineer for Zscaler. I'm responsible for the Philippines market. All right, so as we know all, AI is changing everything, right? Who here have used ChatGPT before? Yeah, less than 50%. Yeah, so even if you don't use ChatGPT, right? A lot of our business applications right now, ERP systems, CRM, so they are actually using AI on the back end, right? And it's good because it supercharges our productivity of the users, productivity of our organizations. But we need to step back a bit, right? As a cybersecurity professional, we need to understand the ramifications of having AI in our business tools. So there are usually two risks that we look at from AI perspective. One is irrecoverable data loss, right? Whenever you plug in input into these AI tools, right? You put in accidentally maybe your confidential data, maybe your intellectual property. All this data actually will be stored in the AI tools database. And not only that, they actually use your data among the pool of data that they have, right, from other businesses, different users, right, and to use their algorithm to answer other users that use, for example, ChatGPT. Right, so you imagine if, let's say, for example, and there's a real scenario about Samsung. If you if you see Samsung article, right, where developers actually use source codes, they actually plug in their source codes to optimize, okay, in ChatGPT, and at the end of the day, ChatGPT already have these source codes, their intellectual property inside their database. Another thing, another risk that we see when we are using this AI, right, are those false and bogus content. Like a lot of users who use ChatGPT, right, they trust the answers, response from these AI tools too much. And sometimes they use this information, right, in their materials, like marketing materials, they use in their policies, and this may introduce legal liabilities to your organization. If, let's say, it's a false information, right, and you distribute it, your material into the public, and if it garners any legal attention, so it will be an impact to your organization. And when we talk about threat nowadays, right? Adversaries, threat actors, they also leverage on AI, right? Because it's very difficult for them to build, for example, like codes for malware payloads. So why not they leverage on AI, right? And when we talk about the cyber kill chain, we look at the reconnaissance attack first. So under reconnaissance, usually what we'll do is, not we'll do, but bad actors, adversaries out there, they try to enumerate your exposed gateways. Currently, if let's say you want to see what are the exposed gateways, maybe you can go to shodan.io using, or maybe you go to DNS dumpsters to find all these exposed FQDNs, exposed host names, right? Yeah, with AI tools, right, they can easily enumerate, okay, they can gather information on certain organizations, okay, certain companies' security posture, and potential the vulnerabilities of their exposed gateways. And when we talk about initial access, right, again, discovery of vulnerabilities. Just now, like Sir Christopher mentioned about from Rapid7, right, we talk about advanced phishing. Now, is relevant for the threat actors adversaries to use AI tools, okay, to craft out like almost realistic phishing messages, phishing emails. Like let's say, for example, you want to do phishing attack, right? Spear phishing on certain CIO, CEO. Even for Zscaler, right? Our CEO is Jay. There's someone actually impersonate Jay as a Zscaler CEO, right, to ask for money. Yeah, so all these very prominent advanced phishing attacks, right? Actually, they leverage on AI. Then we talk about social engineering. Okay, there's a lot of public information out there. We can look at annual reports. We can look at company corporate directories. We can look at social medias to understand an individual from a certain organization. Okay, last but not least, malware. So with AI tools, okay, they can actually generate faster polymorphic malware where traditional security platforms cannot catch, right? So that's the reason why it's very important for us now, okay, to defend this AI, the threat actors that is using AI with our artificial intelligence. All right, so these are the 5 key AI questions for organizations, right, when we want to adopt AI tools. First, what AI application makes sense for your enterprise? So remember just now in the morning when Sir Emmanuel, if I'm not wrong, from Philippine Clearinghouse, yeah, so he mentioned about PCHC using AI, okay, for their check processing, okay, to detect fraud, to make sure that the check is original copy from their customers, right? And what is the risk when you use these AI tools? Next, is our entire organization aligned on this AI usage? Okay, we need to understand whether we already have governance in place, okay, to adopt this AI framework, okay, and do we have sufficient visibility, right, into AI app usage? So once you are ready to adopt AI tools in your organization, right, okay, do we have the tools or processes in place to have visibility into how our users actually use these AI applications? Okay, is our data protection strategy, is our data protection solution can enable, okay, data exfiltration prevention, right? So how can I restrict these risky actions? Last but not least, how can I allow access to only certain part of certain AI applications, right? There's, like, for example, you have the Microsoft Copilot, you have ChatGPT, etc. So when we talk about having this visibility, okay, and when we talk about data protection, allowing or even CASB, right? So this is where the zero trust architecture comes in, right? So in the next slide, for example here, I'm not going to go really in detail on how this zero trust architecture works. Again, if you have listened to my presentation last year about how we move organization using zero trust architecture to transform digitally, right? You can scan this QR code. Okay, you can, if you want to know more about how to have a 7 elements of highly successful zero trust architecture, okay, you can just scan this QR code. But on a high level, what I want to touch on is when we talk about zero trust architecture, the fundamental concept is the identity, right? You need to know who you are, who is this individual, right? So we need to stop this traffic. Okay, we need to open up this packet. Okay, we need to inspect. Okay, first thing first, who are you? Okay, and we also need to know where you are going to. Whether you are going to just generate internet applications, okay, whether you are using your corporate SaaS resources, for example, Salesforce, for example, maybe Office 365, Google Workspace, right? Then we also look at the risk dynamically, right? And when we talk about risk, we should look at from the user perspective. Okay, we should look at from the device risk perspective. Okay, we need to look at from the destination. Okay, whether that application is sanctioned or unsanctioned. Okay, and we also need to work together in your the current ecosystem of an organization. So let's say, for example, you have your EDR, you have your SDR, you have your identity access management, you have your threat intelligence. So all these, of course, one solution cannot be the silver bullet, right? In order for us to secure our organization, we need to have close integration with different parts of different components of the security controls. Okay. Last but not least, of course, with the policy enforcement, granular policy enforcement per session, okay, that you need to do, okay, to make sure that any encrypted traffic which contains data leakage or maybe malicious payloads, right, will be detected, okay, and will be prevented, right? So we want to stop cyber attacks and data loss, right? In order to do this, in summary, we need a proxy architecture, okay? And we need to make sure that we inspect all this encrypted traffic. And with the AI embedded in this zero trust architecture, right, it will make much sense or make it easier for your SOC operations team also to prevent this kind of malicious intent. So remember just now we talked about the zero trust architecture, right? So how do we embed this artificial intelligence, right, into the zero trust architecture? So a lot of organizations today, of course, you have your advanced threat protection, okay? You have your firewalls, you have your EDRs, and some of the organizations also leverage on browser isolation to filter the risks of users accessing risky sites, but at the same time increase productivity of the users. So with the AI embedded in this zero trust architecture, what we can achieve is to have a AI-powered cloud browser isolation. Currently, without AI, it's difficult for organizations, okay, to determine whether should I isolate this particular destination. I have these miscellaneous websites or these newly registered domains. Sometimes our marketing user wants to access this new website, but we block it because we deem that it's a newly registered domains or it's a new website coming out, a new application, right? So some organizations will strictly block, or some organizations will be very more lenient, okay, and let the users access to these newly registered domains or malicious websites. So that's the reason why some organizations leverage on browser isolation, okay, to allow the users to access the application, but not directly. It's going through the isolation container. So with the AI-powered proprietary AI models, right, solutions, cybersecurity solutions can help the users to determine whether, okay, this site we do browser isolation and this site we just go in directly to the internet. Okay, when we talk about phishing detection, it's difficult for us, okay, to determine whether this particular site is a phishing site. Agree? Yeah, so with this AI power, right, based on the machine learning, right, okay, more or less, this can help us to understand whether this site is a phishing site, and we can block it, right? Okay, then we talk about advanced threat protection, like C2 servers. Okay, again, C2 servers, newly registered domains usually. It's difficult to determine whether it's benign or malicious. So AI can help to determine whether this site is malicious or not. Okay, dynamic risk-based policy. Remember just now I mentioned it's not only about device. We talk about users. We talk about destinations. Okay, so with this AI, we can help do dynamic risk-based policy. Okay, whether for example this particular minute the user is not available to access this particular site because maybe there's a malicious intent, but the next minute, okay, with AI, okay, we will be able to know that okay, this is allowed, then user can access. Okay, cyber risk assessment, again, with AI, it can automatically identify your organization's risks, okay, and of course, contextual alerts. So without context, without visibility, it's difficult for us to protect our organizations. All right, and data protection, this is interesting. It's difficult for organizations today to determine whether this data is confidential or maybe this data is sensitive, okay, and this data maybe is unclassified, right? Because we have a lot of business units, and like we mentioned earlier, right, we have data owners that only knows which data is important to be protected. So with AI/ML, okay, we can determine whether those traffic, those data leak out to the internet, right, whether it's actually confidential or just unclassified documents. Yeah. So the future innovations using AI, right? What we can predict is like about breach prediction, where, like for example, you have some organizations using breach attack simulation. So with this AI also, they can even more provide insights on what will happen if you change current policies or different policies, right? And we talk about natural language interface where users can interact with analytics tool to understand, okay, what will happen if I configure this particular policies in my environment. And lastly, multimodal DLP. So with the generative AI, and with the capabilities to protect the customer's data from leakage across your organization. Yeah, so in conclusion, we really need AI in the future, right? We really need AI in the future, okay, to help us to secure your organization. Thank you so much.
In a world where data is everywhere, apps are everywhere, and employees are working everywhere, cyber attackers are harnessing artificial intelligence to compromise users and organizations. Firewalls and VPNs are no longer protecting you. In fact, they have become the attack surface. Which is why at Zscaler, we're fighting AI with better AI, enabling you to predict threats before they happen. We've extended our Zero Trust architecture with powerful AI engines that are trained and tuned by 400 billion daily transactions. That's 500 trillion daily signals helping you to get real when it comes to digital security. Learn more about the real power of Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI to prevent AI attacks, while gaining the agility of the cloud. Zscaler. Experience your world secured.